Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Horticultural Hales. This is now episode 4, so we've been doing this for about 28 days now. And yeah, so as you can see, first thing I'm going to be doing is showing you how to set up your runner bean cage. So for this knot, all you basically got to do is just form a loop and then tie off these. So as I said, you have a loop, like so. Put a loop onto the cane, slide it up to the canes, wrap it around a couple of times, and then tie off underneath. Make sure though that it is still tight, else, excuse me, they'll just in the wind they'll come apart. And that's it. I'll time lapse through the rest. So basically all we've done here is I put a cross bracing in, weaving in and out of the canes, just so that it helps with the stability. So this is before, and then if I tie it, it's a lot sturdier, and then I will just help it stay up in the wind and also support the runner beans. So basically we've moved into the greenhouse because I'm going to take you through how to put up my cucumber and melon canes. I'm not going to do a full explanation because the knots and stuff are exactly the same as before with the runner beans in. And so I'm going to time lapse through it, and I've just thought beforehand I'll explain a couple of things I'm doing. You'll notice I'm putting them on angles. It's so that the fruit or the vegetables actually grow much straighter. If you have it on an angle, then the fruit just hangs down straight and it naturally straightens. If you have it straight, it'll hit canes and it could actually stunt the growth even, and it'll just stop it growing. So notice that. You'll also notice that I'm doing them round on a corner. It's just because that's the space I've got. And I'm now, if the audio is a bit echo, it's because I have moved into the greenhouse. I think we are going to be in the greenhouse for the rest of the video now as well, so let's get on with it. So next what I'm going to be doing is my Utiki Kuro. So this is a type of squash, which is new. I'm growing new this year. It's me, and all I'm doing is just filling up one of my propagator trays with compost. And then I'll just keep them in the propagator until they're ready to grow. These you'll do similar to how you would do melons or cucumbers. You do them up canes, or if you preferred, I guess you could kind of do them up string. Not easily, but if you wanted to, you could try. Now most of the stuff I've been doing this will take quite a while, except from stuff like radishes. And I know some quite quick and simple things, just thinking of the current situation. Quick and simple things to grow stuff like radishes and lettuces. So if you want salad vegetables are probably the thing to go for. There's things you could do inside that are quite quick. But as well, inside or outside, you could do things like tomatoes. So you could grow tomatoes indoors. I know there's a breed now that you can actually grow from hanging baskets, and it's like a hanging tomato, and you have the hanging basket, and it just falls down, and all the trusses come down. I'm not going to do that this year, but that's something that could be useful for those in isolation. You can also just grow tomatoes in pots outside, up canes, but again, they'll be about, I mean, my beefsteak tomatoes have been in, when did we do those? So that was probably the first episode, so about 4 weeks ago. And I've got 9 now, out of the 12. I only really want 6, but 9 will be plenty. But good tip, whenever you're sowing anything, it doesn't matter what, whenever you're sowing anything, you always sow more than you want. So for example, the tomatoes, I sowed, if you remember, 12, I think, because there are 4 in each pot, and 9 have come up, and I want 6. It's so that when I plant them, if any rot off or if any die, then I've still got spares. And then if you do end up having spares, you can give them away, or you can keep them and put them in extra pots if you have the room. If not, then you don't. But no, you always do more than you need. So another good example, the melons we did, I put in 6, and they're just here, but you can't see them. I put in 6. All 6 came up. One or 2 is looking a bit iffy whether it'll survive, but 4 are quite strong. And as you saw just in the last shot, the time lapse, I'm only going to put them up 3 canes, so really I only want 3 plants. They should be about deep enough. So yeah, back to what I was doing. So I'm growing, I'll cover the label if I can. There you go, squash you cheeky curry. And these are again new to me. I saw these were actually on Gardener's World, and I thought, oh, those will be quite cool to try. And these will be outside. I haven't built. So you saw, and just in the last, or a couple of shots ago, I did the canes for the runner beans. On the end there, I'll have the squashes, but they'll be parallel, so perpendicular to the where the runner beans and French beans go. And all you do with these is the same as we did with the melons. You just put them on edge, gently push them in like that, and you want 1 per tray, 1 per little plug. Sorry, my dad just walked past. Then that one. And I'll put in 9, mostly because these are going to be outside, so they're more likely to not make it. But these I'll start off inside, and then I'll put them outside. So once you've done that, you'll look like that. So they're all on edge. Sprinkle, just lightly sprinkle a little bit on top. And it's always good, as I said in one of the in the last episode, is you always want to gently firm down the soil, because it just helps strengthen the roots mainly. If you have weak soil or you have loose soil, the actual roots won't need to use as much energy to push through, so they won't be as hardy. Whereas if you gently, not much, you don't have to do it much. If you just, if you just lightly press the soil, it just causes them to force their way through. So they tend to be more hardy plants. You know, I'm trying something again this year because it didn't really work last year. This year I'm trying half and half with French and runner beans on the actual canes, because it just saves space really. If you have two lots of the big cane structures, it takes up a lot of garden, and as you see I don't really have that much garden. It's not that big, but I managed to squash everything in. Alright then. And then I'll grab a tag. Wherever I put the tags, here we are. Did I have a pencil? I can't remember. But I'll mark these with a pencil at some point. But these are the Uchiki Kuri. I'll put one in here because they're melons. And yes, then, now what we're going to do, if I move these out of the way, is get another, we're going to be doing a lot of sowing, I'm afraid, is we're going to do our courgettes. Move that out of the way. So, just sorting out that pack. So, now what we're going to do is exactly the same thing, but for courgettes. These you sow exactly the same, except slightly deeper, and then of course keeping a propagator. But what I tend to find is better is if you have, oh shoot, I'm not going to use that one. If you have, say, a propagator with a lid, and you do, it might be heated, and so you can automatically control the heat. But if you don't have a heater like me, I just have a lid for mine, then what I find is best is if it's on a warm day and your greenhouse gets really, really hot, just to take the lid off, because even though any moisture in the propagator will evaporate out into the main greenhouse, you then not having a propagator about 30-40 degrees, which can harm or kill your plants. So I find that quite useful. And then if you find that they are dry, give them a water. That water will evaporate, and just put a little tiny bit, not much, just like a tiny little dribble in the bottom of the propagator, and that'll just help keep circulating it round. So in here I'm going to be doing two different breeds. I'll be doing Black Beauty, and I'll be doing a new one, which is a normal courgette. I haven't got the exact name, but because they're three different colours, so it'll be three different breeds. But they're not normal long courgettes, they're round courgettes. If I just, they're more rounded rather than long, and as you would think a courgette would be. You know, as, excuse me, sorry, I'm making a bit of a mess. So now I'll be doing those. They'll be going this side of the runner beans, but they'll be closest to the greenhouse. And you want to leave them about, I'd say about 60 centimetres. I'll go over this again when I'm planting them out, but they'll want to be about 60 centimetres away from each other. But in here, what you want to do is just, when you pat it down, is just make sure that there's a 2 centimetre gap. Usually it's about a centimetre, but just make sure it's more 2 centimetres rather than a centimetre, and that's because some plants, the actual seed will pop through. I know French beans will do it. But that's because that's what they're doing. Same with runner beans. Sorry, just doing this quick. And you don't really want that. And also too much of the stem can show. So they look long and spindly when they're not. Right. We'll do about half and half. I think with these we'll do... Let's find the right ones. Here we go. So again, as usual, same with the melons and the I've already forgotten. Well, same as the melons and the squash. That's it. Just push these up, put these in on their side. I really need to find a pencil just to mark these off. Just push them in on their side. And so they're just kind of just peeking over the surface of the soil. There you go. And these will be up in about 2 weeks. I think I've done too many in there, haven't I? I'll take these out. Just blow some compost out of there. Don't want these to germinate. Have we got room? Actually, no, no. We'll put them in. We'll put loads in. Alright, that's the Black Beauty. And then, we'll move these off to, oh no, we need to cover them. And then I'll stop talking and I'll do the other ones in time lapse, as in the round ones, because they're just exactly the same. And I think, I'll have a look up there, I think that's going to be about it. I'll cover these, and then I'll do the rest in time lapse. And if you just quickly whilst I'm doing this, if you get white stuff like this, actually in your compost, don't worry about it. That's something called mycelium, and that's actually going to help plants grow. And that's just something that develops when they're making the compost. It doesn't harm them, as I said. It more aids them than harms them. And it doesn't really matter. I've got loads of different plants at the moment that have got mycelium in just from this bag of compost, which you can just about see behind me. There we go. And that should do. Yep, and then I'll do the rest in time lapse. So this is the end of episode 4 now. Today's been very busy. I know this video probably may be quite long. I don't know because I haven't edited yet, but if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Your support is always useful. And yes, so join me next week for another episode of Horticultural House, and please keep growing those gardens.